Hello my friends, I will tell you today how to counteract your diseases. I have learned a lot about how my computer misfunctions. I have made the same video in Romanian language, but unfortunately at one point in time I had to shake my window went black, and the transmission stops and the recording stopped, and only the last 7 seconds were actually recorded, because whatever I recorded before then, tens of minutes, was erased. So the people of Agartha and Shambhala are bacteria. They are unicellular cells. They have 8, 10, 12 arms, so-called arms, and if they catch each other they can form a multicellular organism, but they don't do this because they are bacteria and they have their nucleus spread in their cell. And I remember when Nicholas from Birla City, the boyfriend of my mother, asked me, "Do you have a brain?" I said, "Yes." "Do you?" He does not, because he's a bacteria and he ate my brother. They have a special way of being gelatinous. The membrane opens first. They got your legs and your body, and then your head, and they eat you. And so how do the viruses react? In order to counteract a disease, you have to think like a virus. When the collection of viruses or a disease enters your body, all the viruses act, like a society of viruses or bacteria. They work in common in order to learn more about your system and infect it. They actually, after they learn how to counteract your system, they form new strains of DNA and RNA into their cells, into their ectoplasm, in order to be more effective at killing you. But this process also happens in the human body, because the spine or columns gives us some white cells, which are also antibodies or bacteria which eat other bacteria and viruses, and later they are resorbed if you have enough energy. That is why leukemia is a disease when you get very frightened about the fact that you have a disease, when in fact you have no disease. You spend a lot of energy to produce white cells. Those white cells don't find anything, and then they start to eat your own body, and you need to have a resorption mechanism which also requires energy. So you spend energy in order to create the white cells, and you also spend energy in order to destroy the white cells after that, to eat them away. But they give you energy after that they are eaten, because they have proteins and so on. And the white cells learn more about the disease and how to counteract it, but the disease also learns more about the body and how to infect it. This is a very nice and strange coincidence, which makes, when a plague is given to the world, a lot of the world population is wiped out, but some people always find a way to survive. They are usually the last ones to be infected. You see, now my third eye is open. That is why this symbol is put there instead of my left or right eye. So, Agartha and Shambhala are civilizational bacteria. They are like giant organisms. They are deceiving us. They are not forming actually organisms, but they are communicating telepathically. That is why a bacteria like Princess Mihaela told me on 12th of January or 16th of January last year, 2013, how it is Agartha organisms. There are 6 million of them, and so on and so forth. And she also told me that Simona Halep will win the Wimbledon, because they sustain. Simona Halep is a unicellular organism, a bacteria or a virus from Agartha. And their names also come from virus. Marius virus, Mihaela virusella, or virus. And they take great pride in their work. They learn very fast. I know there is some unicellular organisms on contributors, and at first he knew technology at the level of 60s and 70s, maybe 40s and 50s kind of computer, and I gave him some input and he researched, and now he knows more things than I do after a few months. So very rapidly they spread. If you play the Plague Inc. computer, you will see how at the beginning they are very slow. They infect only 1 or 2 organisms, and then they spread around the world and galaxy and the universe very fast, because they know how to do it. So Simona Halep also has this technique, because in every game she learns from her opponent. First she loses badly, and if her opponent is not very good, because Serena Williams was very good. She's also a black woman from the very logical civilization of Africa, also from America now, and she defeated her before. Simona learned about her a lot in order to counteract her. But now she's using this technique. She's counteracting her opponents, and that is why Mihaela told me that Simona Halep will be supported telepathically by all the cells of Agatha, because the cells form a network, like a neural network between themselves. Usually the cell which has the most energy, and that will be a king or a queen or a prince or a duke, in those or a count or a marquis, in those groups of cells, takes leadership of those cells, and she forms the basis of the neural network. Then we have 4 cells, 16, 64, and so on, or maybe 8, 64 we go, but or 8 or 12 or 10, depending on how many arms. If they have 8 arms in Agatha, we go by the power of 10 or 8, 8, 64, and so on. And they all give their power to her, and she uses that power, that energy, with her own energy in order to absorb. Of course, in order to win the Wimbledon, you also have to be a multicellular and with a true brain, and you have to understand the game. It is not enough to copy from all other people which you met. So you see. But these are things which also make Vasilania Pauna another cell which says, in the quarters at the World Cup of Football, in 2014 there will be no European teams because Lemuria wants to teach Atlantis a lesson, and there will be only us. That is why, and this came true. Nicoros told me, you came with an axe at me, and then that is why you will lose 5 teeth, that one, and I lost 3, maybe 4. But not so much as he says. So you see, the disease, the viruses are also growing strong, and then they grow weaker because they meet the very complex systems of the host organisms, which is in case this planet. This planet has this so-called civilization or so-called diseases, Agatha and Shambhala, which came from the beer and wine, or wine and beer. That is why they are blue and green bacteria. And they are good people. They are good people. Don't misunderstand me. They are good and conscious and spiritual people. But I only wish to explain to you how these things work. So, in order to counteract a virus, you have to think like a virus. You have to adapt at your opponent. You have to learn from it. You see. No. Goodbye.